Okay, so welcome to the video. So what I'm going to go over is show you on your project the steps that you need to do. So I've already drawn a picture on here and color coded it just so you can see which ones that I am talking about. So I'm going to go ahead and just start up at the top with the green. And when you look at this green, you'll notice that this point here is 2, 4. And this point over here is a negative 2, 4. So when I come to my paper on there where it says point, okay, or points, that's what I'm going to write. So I'm going to put on there my first point is a negative 2, 4, and my second point is 2, 4, okay? The next thing is to write your function or your equation. And so in order to write my equation, I need to find the slope. So I'm going to have 4 minus 4, 2 minus a negative 2, so 0 over 4. So my slope is 0, which should tell you that that is a horizontal line, which you should already have known by looking at the problem. And remember, all horizontal lines are y equals whatever your y equals. In this case, it is 4. Okay, so there's my equation. Now, the part that some of you said that you were having trouble with was the domain restrictions. And so if you will look at this one in terms of the green, okay, I'm going to make little dots here, down, and you'll see it goes from a negative 2 to 2. And so that is what I'm going to write as my domain. Okay, now all you need to do when you go over to the last piece, so skip, okay, you're going to skip the part that says check mark. That's what you're going to skip. And then when you go to your last piece, then you just have to write, I'm kind of out of room here, you're going to write y equals 4, and then you're going to put in parentheses your domain restrictions. And that is because when we go to Desmos, it has to have those brackets around it so that it will accept it. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the orange, and again, when I do my points, I have a negative 4, 2, and then I have the negative 2, 4 that I already had. So I have as points negative 4, 2, negative 2, 4. And so again, I'm going to write my equation. So the first thing I need to do is find my slope. And double negatives, that's going to be plus. So I have a slope of 1. And then I'm going to write my equation, and you can either use your y equals mx plus b. You can either do that. I'll put that down here, in which we put in the y. I'm going to use the first one, and the slope, and the x plus the b. So b in this case is 6. And so my equation is going to be y equals x plus 6. Okay? Now, if you don't want to do it that way, we could do it as our point slope, which is my preference. So it is y minus your y, which was your 2, slope of 1, and your x was a negative 4. And so in this case, we get y minus 2 equals x plus 4, and y equals x plus 6. And again, I like that way because you already have your equation. You don't have to remember to put anything in. So there's my equation. Now, domain restriction. We're going to come back up to my graph. And again, I'm going to dot the two ends of my line. Okay? And so you'll notice that my orange goes from a negative 4 to a negative 2. So a negative 4 to a negative 2. And so that would be my domain restriction. Okay? So that would be what you would do for the orange line. Okay, so I am going to go to the purple line. Okay, and one of the things about the purple line is that if you recognize that it is a vertical line, so I will put my points here, -4, -2, -4, 2. It is a vertical line, which is always x equals. So that's not going to require any work on there if you recognize that. Now, the thing that's different about vertical lines versus all the others that we do is on vertical, since it is up and down on that, I don't do a domain restriction. Technically, it's a range restriction. So I'm going to use y. So the vertical lines are the only ones we'll use y on. And so y went from down here at a -4 to up here, oh sorry, a -2 to up there to a +2. Okay, your y values. Okay, that's the only one that will do that. Okay, so that's kind of an example of how each of those work in terms of writing your equations and so forth. So that's an example of each one. Now, back to domain restrictions, and I'm just going to put that piece on here. If you're looking at the blue line, that would be this line right here. Okay, and so if I just kind of do a dotted line up, you'll see it goes from, okay, -4 to a -2. So that would be your domain restriction. When I go to the brown, okay, it goes from here to there, and so that would be from a -2 to a +2 would be your domain restriction. My pink would be over here, so that is from 2 to 4. And then my green, okay, is another vertical line, so it is going to be a domain restriction from the -2 to 2. Okay, so that's just kind of color coded and showing you what you need to do for each one of those. So remember, if you have any questions, be sure you see me. Don't wait till the last minute. This is worth 20% of your final. So come see me if you need help.